For a technical reason, I will record also the webinar. That will be one of the outcome of the project. I will show you now my screen, and I have here the agenda. Can you see the screen? Yes. So going through the agenda, I want to present the presenter first. We have Natalia from VRC, then Hurgita as well from the Vocational Valakupia Rehabilitation Center, and the external presenter is Egidius from Etalink. He is a founder and the CEO of this company. Some technical information before starting. As I said, I mute all of you. So to ask a question, you should raise the hand, and we will give you the floor. Presenters will not be able to raise the hand, so if they want to talk and they are mute, they can ask a question directly in the chat. So Alexandra, you raised the hand already. Do you have a question? Alexandra? It seems that she can answer. Okay. Then I have one recommendation is to be on time when we are taking the break. Monica and Peter, they have a question as well. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, Peter.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Peter. Tell me.
Okay. Yeah. No, I had some connection problems, but now I am connected by the telephone and it seems to work. So I just wanted to check that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone has a question now?
Cynthia, I don't see your screen. Hello. If you are showing anything.
Okay, Natalia. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
You hear me?
Who is speaking?
Monica.
Yes, Monica.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Oh. Okay. Very good.
Okay, perfect.
I'm here.
Okay, Alexandra, you still have a question. What's happened? Okay. Okay, so another important information is that at the end of the webinar, as soon as I finish as soon as I ended the webinar, you will receive the satisfaction survey. This survey is not about the technical requirement of the webinar or the technical functions, but it's about the content of the webinar. It's like the satisfaction survey that you fill during the last site visit in Tallinn. So please answer to the question and submit it online. I think that we are still missing Ron from the Netherlands, but maybe we can start, and then I would like to give the floor to Raza. And Raza will be the chair of this meeting, while me, I will be here supporting for technical problems and give the floor to the speakers and to participants. The last recommendation is when you want to speak, please say who you are and to whom you want to talk. That would be great to understand, to answer questions. Okay, thank you very much. Raza, the floor is yours, and then again I will mute all participants. Please, Raza.
from Valakupiai Rehabilitation Center. I am a project coordinator and also coordinator of this very interesting and challenging project, Learnabil IT. So welcome on the webinar on increasing employment opportunities for people with disabilities in ICT sector in Lithuania. And I will chair this meeting. And now, just very shortly, I would like to present you what was going on during the project and what we are going to present you today. Okay. Probably you see my desktop at the moment. Yeah? So yes. During this project, together with other project partners from 6 countries, we have identified good practice examples how vocational, educational and training organizations cooperate with the employers in ICT sector. So we have identified 4 good practice examples. That was job search and placement support at Valakupiai Rehabilitation Center and also other vocational rehabilitation centers. Also, one of the examples is the research that it is done in order to clarify what are the needs of the employers and what are the expectations about the future employees with disabilities and trainees with disabilities. The third good practice example was the sectoral practical training centers. That is the initiative on the national level at Lithuania that there are established new vocational training centers according to the employer's need. And a fourth case study, good practice example, was about the catalog of workplace requirements. So today it was the partners of the project have selected that we are going to present you 2 case studies, the catalog of workplace requirements and job search and employment support services provided at Valakupiai Rehabilitation Center. So for those who doesn't know, Valakupiai Rehabilitation Center is a public institution that provides different rehabilitation services for people with disabilities or health problems. So in this case we speak more about the vocational rehabilitation program, and it consists of 4 stages, starting with the vocational skills assessment, vocational orientation, then vocational training and job search and employment services. So today one of the presenters will present you job search and placement support. So this is our, the presenter is Natalia Markovskaya. She's the head of the job search and employment department at Valakupiai Rehabilitation Center for more than 4 years. And she has more than 10 years experience in Natalia, and I invite all the participants to be active in questioning us, and we will do our best to answer to your questions. So Natalia, the floor to you. Natalia, do you hear us?
Just a second, I will make her presenter. Natalia,
you see me?
Yes.
We see your presentation.
Okay, can you see me?
No.
Okay, and now?
No.
Raza, can you try to switch off your camera and leave the camera
Yes,
to Natalia?
sure.
Thank you.
Okay. I have switched my camera.
Yes, now we can see you, Natalia.
Oh, we see you, Natalia.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello to everyone. Okay. So, can you see my screen now?
Yes. No, it's black at the moment.
Okay. Now
we see.
Okay. So, hello everybody. I'm Natalia, and I work, as Rasa presented, in Valakopei Rehabilitation Center as head of the Department of Job Placement and Support. And I will present you as a good practice example from Lithuania, the practice of job search and placement for people with disabilities. And I will show you the example of Valakopei Rehabilitation Center and which practices we use here. So thank you in advance for your attention. And okay, I will start with the VRC mission because job search and placement department, of course, helps to implement the Valakopei Rehabilitation Center mission, which is to provide, constantly improve and develop medical, vocational and social rehabilitation services. And as far starting from this year, we provide vocational educational training for people with disabilities or other who experience social exclusion or long-term health problems in order to reach their full and equal participation in society, integration, and of course better quality of life. And probably it's important that all our services which are mentioned here are seeking or want the better quality of life of people who receive our services. And it doesn't matter which services we provide. Do we provide services of vocational rehabilitation, which aims for employment of people with disabilities, or it is social or medical rehabilitation services which have another target of their services. And if to talk about the strategy of Valakopei Rehabilitation Center, of course, employment is one of the strategical goals, strategical targets in our strategy for 13 and for the year 2013 and 2015. And one of the strategical goals is improve employment rate of people with disabilities. And we do it with different tasks, implementing different tasks, which are like cooperation with all the stakeholders. And the stakeholders of Valakopei Rehabilitation Center and vocational rehabilitation services are not only clients themselves, but also employers, companies in the labor market, but also family members, funders, ministry, people. So we try to cooperate, reaching the goal of improving employment rate of people with disabilities. We cooperate with different stakeholders. Of course, we do some analysis of employment, of the for example, current situation of people with disabilities in the labor market and in the companies. So usually we do it with a questionnaire, and this questionnaire is provided for those who provide services of vocational rehabilitation to see their perspective, what is the situation of people with disabilities in the labor market and how they impact this situation currently. And we make the questionnaire of the employers who also whom we also ask what is the situation of the people with disabilities in the labor market and what they think can be improved. Of course, the one of the strategic field is like know-how field, what means that we constantly try to develop all kinds of methodologies, standards of employment services, of vocational rehabilitation services, but part of them, as you will see later, is employment services. And we constantly try to look, not only in Lithuania, but in all over the Europe, what are the best practices. So this project is like a room for improvement for us, because we look which practices or which elements from the practices we can use in our employment services in order to make the results of our strategical field better. Of course, we share our practices, and maybe someone like today will see maybe not all the practice as a perfect example to transfer to their services, but maybe some parts of them can be transferred. So we share at the moment like this our good practice examples. We bench learn of the good employment practices, and we try to benchmark first with the employment rate among the different leading vocational rehabilitation service providers, and we implement through the bench learning, if there is a possibility and there is a room for that, we try to learn from them and transfer, like again, like this project, we will transfer some of the practices to improve our employment, the rate of employment of people with disabilities, but also the service himself. We, of course, one of the strategic tasks is involvement of employers and other stakeholders. So we constantly try to invite them to some like roundtable discussion, or to present their need, or to make like a job fair when the employer come and see what kind of people with disabilities who are graduated from our program are looking for the job, and if he thinks that there is someone suitable for his company, he can employ. And one of the main strategic goals which we follow, and this is dictated partially from the funder, that the employment rate should be not less than 60% of all who graduate vocational rehabilitation in our service. And of course, during all kinds of campaigns and on everyday basis go into the companies, we try to build the positive image of people with disabilities in the society, what is important as a strategical field in the process of employment of people with disabilities. And one of the future development I already know and I would like to share with you is employer training. And I think we will transfer some elements from we have seen in Ireland, in National Learning Network, and in Astangu Rehabilitation Center. So we will like borrow, or we will take some elements and combine the employer training in our center. So, if to speak a little bit about the vocational rehabilitation program, of course, people come to vocational rehabilitation because they are disabled and because they want to find a job. So they are all looking for the job. That is probably clear for everyone, but just to make a milestone on it. And all the program of vocational rehabilitation is divided to several parts, which first of all, it is the assessment of vocational skills. So it is like we want to provide services based on the person-centered approach, on the individual plan. So first of all, we assess of individual vocational and personal skills, which are, so to know the picture of to show to the one who comes to the vocational rehabilitation a picture of himself in a way, and the room for improvement, so what he needs to improve in case to become IT specialist, for example. Another part is vocational guidance and counseling, and that is like career counseling in a way, because when I can't find a job as a person, I come to the service of vocational rehabilitation, I know myself better, I know, but I am struggling with with the question whom I want to be in the future, because all my life I was driving a truck in a way, but now I'm in a wheelchair, I can't drive a truck anymore, so I need to orientate myself in order to know whom I want to be. So vocational guidance and counseling is one of the part. And employment manager also has a big, not a big role, but is a part of the team who is like guiding people with disabilities throughout the vocational rehabilitation, that they would choose, first of all, what suits them better, which opens up their talents the best it is possible. But on the other hand, that the labor market, the nowadays labor market, would be demanded for what he wants. Because like I would like to be someone who is not anymore in the labor market. So then we would show a real picture of the labor market, but the last choice will be of the client. The next part of vocational rehabilitation is rehabilitation part, or the restoration of the lost abilities. That can be physical, like bio, psychosocial abilities. My psychological abilities needed for my future career, my social abilities or social problems need to be solved for my future career, and my physical abilities, of course, and that Jurgita will talk about a little bit later. One of the part of the vocational rehabilitation, which is important, of course, also is vocational educational training. And this is the vocational educational training program, which is recognized by the state as a informal training, but during this training is the most flexible for people with disabilities to complete the program which suits their tempo, their stamina, their abilities the best it can. And the last part till now, till the last month, it was job search and placement support, and it was the end of the program that we prepare people for the labor market. We help to prepare, and we also look for the placement for them. But from the last month, we have a new part which is just coming up now. We are developing the description of it. It is on-job support, that after the employment, after the placement, the support is not finishing, but all the multidisciplinary team will help the person on the job. So that means he will get the support to long-term, like to gain the long-term employment or the sustainable employment. The target group is the next one I wanted to share, and our target group is people, of course, unemployed, who are looking for the job, who is from 0 to 45 working capacity, and maybe for most of you this will be strange thing to hear, or some the thing you didn't hear before. This is our system of disability rate, but from some years ago it became not disability, but they made a positive relabeling of it, and now we assess not disability rate but working capacity. So people with disabilities are recognized if they are from 0 to 55, but people who need a vocational rehabilitation, in a sense, are from 0 to 45. So this is our target group, and who has a recognized need for vocational rehabilitation, and that is assessed by the national authority. And nowadays it is two authorities, is National Labor Exchange Office and Disability Working Capacity and like assessment office, national we have, who is assessing the disability rate in a sense. And we work also with all kinds of disabilities, with mental, intellectual, sight, hearing, physical disability. And I also can divide those groups to like two, because one of them are young people who come first time want to enter labor market, and another one who have been maybe a long time in the labor market, but they can't work their job anymore because of their disability or because of their health issues, and they want to re-enter labor market. So that are two a little bit different approaches, but they participate in the same program. Do you hear me still?
Yes, Natalia.
Yes, we hear you very well.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Because I'm speaking like to myself. I don't hear anyone, so I'm speaking like to myself.
I suggest that if you want to have a comment, just ask for a comment and then we see if someone reacts. Okay?
Okay.
Feel free to do it.
Do someone have any comments?
Please raise the hand to speak. It seems not.
Not.
Maybe I just want to add one comment about the break, that after this presentation we will have a break. So Natalia, you have more 10 minutes for your presentation, then questions and answers, and then we will have a break.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I wanted to show this slide also because our approach in the vocational rehabilitation is that getting a job, like employment, is not an ultimate objective for the most of the client. Because I think no, you and not me are not living to work, but we are working to live. So for the clients it's also important that their objective is probably one of the quality of life fields. And probably if you ask for their targets or their goals, they would come straight away with things like fishing, traveling, beach and the sun, parties and fun, family sports, new car and so on. So, and all of us would come if someone asks of our dream or what we want in our life. It would not be in many cases a job, but it would be something like this slideshow. So in our center in vocational rehabilitation, we also start talking about like what you would like to change in your life. But then, of course, employment will be a part of reaching the goal of quality of life. Because probably if you are not stealing the money or you are not just finding them on the street, you need to earn them. So that's how, what is the approach of employment department to come with the idea of the job for the clients. So that are quality of life goals, which we discuss with every of our clients. Do someone hear me?
Natalia, we see something strange in the...
Yeah, but I don't know why it happens.
we see your presentation now. Okay.
Okay, so the results of our employment services are on the one hand employment rate, number of the clients and certifications, but we also evaluate and we also assess, and it is an important part of the results, is added value of the services, and that is quality of life measurements. So job search and placement support is aimed to provide preparation for the labor market, and also job search and then a support on the labor market. But what is important, that the approach is comprehensive, that even during the employment, not only during the vocational rehabilitation program, but even during the employment, all kinds of specialists like social workers and psychologists and employment managers are working in one team in case to find a good placement in the labor market for the one with a disability. It's also quality of life is constantly the topic, and I think I already explained why. Independency, that all job search and placement support service is aiming for independent acting in the society for the clients. And it should be, and it is, person-centered approach, what we try to implement during the assessment, individual planning, and individual placement of the every person into the company and into the workplace, which is best for him individually, but not for the all the group of the people with disabilities. And these are the job search and placement services we provide, and some of them I already mentioned, and that is labor market analysis, which we are doing constantly because we need to be to keep the hand on the pulse, what is now important on the labor market. So we are analyzing with the questionnaires, with the labor market, all kinds of surveys and so on. We constantly assess the employment possibilities for people with disabilities. We provide career guidance, internship placements. We are developing skills needed in labor market for independency, and that is, for example, psychologists during the job search and placement provide video training to develop the interview skills needed when participating in the interview with the employer. We are, of course...
Natalia, sorry, I think that Didier Roche from CRM has a question.
Okay.
Didier?
No, but I was just wondering if you could hear me. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. No, but I didn't have question.
Okay.
Just on the wrong...
Okay, that's fine.
But
okay.
Anyway, it's nice to hear you.
Yeah.
So if I can go on.
Yeah.
So we, of course, we are developing the skills for independent job search, but we also support clients in finding a job. So we are keeping an eye on the new advertisements. We are contacting with the companies who are looking for some stuff and so on. So it's a constant cooperation and partnership with the employers about the possibilities for people with disabilities to work. It is employer consultancy also. We provide the employer consultancy, and that can be the consultancy on like what is the best communication strategy with the one who has certain kind of disability. It can be the consultancy on the adaptation of the workplace. So what is the best way to adapt the workplace for the people who has lost their sight or who are in a wheelchair, and so on. So we also provide all kind of training, consultancy and information for the employers if they need so. Yes, and research and continuous improvement based on this mutual learning from each other is happening. So the services of employment are and probably all the program of vocational rehabilitation are in ongoing continuous improvement. This is the new service we are now developing, and this is on-job support. For the moment, we have just the main characteristics of it. And of course, the target of on-job support is sustainable and long-term employment, because we believe that some problems arrive when you come to the real job place and not before. So after employment, after the placement, now vocational rehabilitation service providers has a possibility and funding to provide on-job support. And it is possible to provide it 6 months long, but only 48 hours during this period of 6 months are funded. Of course, on-job support is promoting long-term employment and comprehensive approach as well. That means that it's not only employment manager who is contacting the people with disabilities who are placed in the company, but it can be psychologist, it can be even social worker who will mediate with another institution if there is a need. For example, for people with the mental health issues, to connect with some other institution he needs to maintain on the workplace in a long term. And we also foreseen and we plan to provide disability-specific services. So it's a disability-specific approach, because sometimes we see that on the job place, the one with the disability and the employer can have, for example, the deaf people would have a communication problem with employers and they need a sign language translator once in a while. So these services are also will be described in the methodology of on-job support as one needed during the on-job support. And the expected result is at least 6 months employment, at least. Of course, the ultimate goal is lifelong employment or long-term employment, but at least 6 months employment. And these are done, of course, through mediation, consultancy, disability-specific services, and skill reinforcement. Because we saw also, and I think we talked during the visit in Ireland, that sometimes they need to reinforce the skill and the knowledges they got during the program in the center, so that they would need the consultancy on the web page developing or some programming specific things which employer requires. So the teacher will be also the part of the team who provide support to the people with disability on the workplace. But sometimes we feel like that as an employment manager and as a team, because even doing all that sometimes doesn't work. So we create and try to find all kinds of innovations. And one of them are video CV, and I would like your attention now to see a short while of video CV developed this year in Valokopere Rehabilitation Center.
We don't hear the sound.
You don't hear the sound?
Yeah, there is no sound. Yeah.
Sorry if there is no sound. I hear it, but...
Natalia, it's because you have the headset.
And now?
Yeah, we hear.
Studentus, absolventus, IT sferoje informatikos, tiesiog nešiojamus stacionarinius kompiuterius, gebų diegti ir optimizuoti programinę įrangą, konsultuoti įvairiais klausimais. Taip pat turiu patirties naujų ir naudotų kompiuterių pardavime ir nuomos srityse. Aktyviai dalyvauju įvairiuose neįgaliųjų projektuose, visų Lietuvos žmonių su negalia sąjungos narys. Nors mano gimtoji kalba yra rusų, laisvai kalbu lietuviškai, angliškai, suprantu vokiečių kalbą, sugebu suprasti ir pasakyti elementarius sakinius lenkų kalba. Esu motyvuotas, moku aiškiai reikšti savo mintis žodžiu ir raštu. Esu energingas bei atsakingas. Esu komunikabilus, turiu lyderio savybę ir mėgstu komandinį darbą. Moku organizuoti darbo eigą, susikoncentruoti ties tikslu, turiu tvirtą nuomonę ir požiūrį. Neabejoju, kad mano žinios ir įgūdžiai, praktinė patirtis ir asmens savybės, tokios kaip iniciatyvumas, komunikabilumas, sugebėjimas greitai įsisavinti žinias, gali būti panaudotas sėkmingoje darbinėje veikloje. Mano siekis yra tobulėti asmeniškai bei profesinėje srityje, bei įkvėpti kitus savo pavyzdžiui, nugalėti kliūtis. Svarbiausia greitai ir žengti bet mažais žingsniais sėkmės link.
So this was video CV. If you have some questions, I think I give a room now for the questions also.
Yes. Are there any questions by the participants to Natalia? Maybe you have some time to think, and I have a question to Natalia. Just once the reminder that if someone wants to ask a question, there is an icon with a hand to push that icon, and then Cynthia will give you the floor to ask that question. So my question to Natalia, as you know, in Lithuania, more than 80% of all ICT companies are very small, like micro enterprises with up to 9 employees, but we also have a number of major companies, the global ones like Barclays, Danske Bank, IBM, CSA, and all other big companies that have their service center in Lithuania. So my question would be, what is your opinion? What is it easier to have successful cooperation with small ICT companies or the big ones, the global ones?
It is yes.
Natalia, could you, we hear your noise around, so make the noise only for the headset, the sound for the headset. I think that we hear your environment.
But it is silent by me.
Ah, okay. Okay, sorry.
Okay. So I think your described situation is like positive thing and a negative thing as at the same time, because normally in the small companies, people with disabilities adjust themselves better than in a big one. But on the other hand, ICT sector is so specific that if it is a small company which is providing some IT services, those who works there are usually multitasking Like they can do a little bit of programming, a little bit of web designing, and of some other IT connected tasks. So for people with disabilities, usually it is a challenge because they are new in the IT market and they only start. So that is like an obstacle in many way, in some way. And the big companies who are nowadays in Lithuania, like Barclays, and they participated in our interview, they are really like high, they require really high with the high profiled professionals. And people with disabilities usually, not usually, we can find some cases who are really that high level of IT competencies. But those who come to our center normally are not so high level competent. So I don't know if I gave the answer to your question, but that is my approach to it.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any more questions for Natalia? Cynthia, we don't have any raised hands.
Yes, no, there is Peter from Enil. Peter, you mute yourself, so you should unmute yourself. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the beginning slides, you mentioned the percentage of 60% people that are successfully employed after the vocational training. Was that the exact interpretation?
Yes.
Of the 60%? Okay.
Yes.
So, and this means that this 60% gets like a contract for long-term employment then, or?
They get a contract or they start their own little business, like they are self-employed, yes.
Ah, okay, okay. And do you have an idea about the difference between people who get employed or who start a business by themselves after the training? Is it a significant number who become self-employed entrepreneurs?
Who normally becomes self-employed, like the first group, which I would describe as the one who is going for self-employment, are those who is the most difficult to move around, like people in a wheelchair, whose environment are not so adjusted. So they choose something they can do at home, like IT. It can be distant work, so they can work from home, or it is they choose the work of telemarketing, which they can do on the phone. So it is not a contract, but it's like a self-employment. Or we have many some vocational educational training programs, which are like crafts, leather craft, wood craft. So they also start their own little, you can't say it's a business in a big way, but they start to earn their own additional money and they start being like a part of the normal society.
Yeah, okay, I see. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay. So if I can move on, because I think my time is running out.
Yeah, Natalia, could you show the next slide with the guy you showed us on the video about his enterprise? Just very shortly, the slide with about the IT company of the guy from the video CV?
Yes, it will be later. You want to see it now?
Okay, so you didn't finish your presentation yet?
No. But it will be shortly.
Okay, so maybe we can decide, everybody, do we make a break or do we let Natalia finish now?
If you give me 2 minutes, I will finish.
So let's give Natalia 2 minutes and then we make a break.
Okay. Please, Natalia, go ahead. Yeah.
So I will skip. Okay. So I will skip this one because Jurgita will talk on it. But just to mention that we start with this approach that first we assess the requirements of the workplace, which is profiled, like all our vocational educational training programs, which prepare the specialist, some kind of specialist, has a real job place requirement profile, where all the skills and all the abilities of the one who want to work such a job are listed. And then on the other hand, we have a evaluation of vocational skills, and we can compare the profile with the skills which the person has, and we will see what should be improved, and is it possible to develop those skills during the year of vocational rehabilitation. So that is the basic, and then we will develop the skills. On the other hand, we will maybe make some adjustment to the environment, which also can help the one with the disability work the job he would like to work. And if to talk about the cooperation strategies which we have, you can see some of them we use, and some of them you will recognize that you also have. And of course we have internship, of course we have study visits to the real workplace for them to see what is the real work environment. We have a cooperation contract with employers, like about mutual learning. They provide our students, our clients, the internship, and we provide them some training in the back. We have some roundtable discussion. We involve them in the continuous improvement, making researches. We provide also a workplace assessment, and that is part of the cooperation with the companies and finding the way to find new companies who are cooperating with us. And we also have a practice of distant learning, what means that during the vocational educational training, some students receive a real tasks from the IT companies, and this is the way of learning on the real task basis. And the team, just Jurgita today morning was laughing at me, on me a little bit, that I'm a head of the department which has 2 employment counselors, so it's not a big department and I'm not a big boss, but we have 2 employment counselors, and of course the other staff which we can take on board if we need the help of the physiotherapist, occupational therapist, social worker, psychologist, and so on. And if talk about the results, which I had the question already, the employment rate today is around 60. It's a little bit more, 63. The individual plan goals, which are not only employment, but as I said, it can be a lot of quality, another quality of life goals. The 98% of all those goals are reached. The majority of those who graduate vocational rehabilitation say that they have positive change at least in one quality of life field. The client satisfaction is 98, what is something to be proud of. They like our service. And the stakeholder satisfaction is 85. And stakeholders that are employers, funders, the Association of Disabled, and so on. And this is Maxim, whom video CV you saw. He works now as an IT developer and project manager in an organization whose main objective is to provide IT soft and technical support for people with disabilities. And probably you remember from his video CV, he set a very good motto of himself, that small steps to the big success. and he really made probably a small steps to the success he has now. And I would finish my presentation with the advice for the future employment managers, and probably employment managers from Ireland or Astango or other centers will recognize that this is like plan A I described, but it cannot work in some cases. So the alphabet has 25 more letters, so stay cool and keep trying new innovative things in your job. So now the room for question and answers, or we make a break. So I give the floor to Rasa.
Okay, thank you, Natalia, very much for your presentation and very nice illustrations and video CV. Do we have any questions? Cynthia, do you see any raised hands?
Not at the moment. I can unmute all the participants and check if some of them want to speak and make a comment. So I'm unmuting all of you, dear participants. Feel free to ask questions or comments.
I have one question.
Yes, Egid.
This is Egidius. Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to ask how much is to prepare when people go to programs. For example, if I want to start a rehabilitation program and need to finish whole the program, for example, for web developer, how much it is?
Vocational rehabilitation. Can I speak? Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So vocational rehabilitation program under the law in Lithuania can be not more than 12 months. But if you have a question about the web developer, it's half a year. It's 6 months plus rehabilitation period and plus assessment and employment.
And how much it is?
So
You mean how much does it cost?
Yes.
No. It's around 8 months, roughly.
Yes, but how much it is in the money? For example, I want to finish this course, and I want to be a web developer, okay? And how much how much it costs for me?
For you, it will not cost anything, because you will be funded by the Labor Exchange Office for participation in this program. And even more, you will have how to call it, the allowances during the participation in the vocational rehabilitation program. You will get for 6 months, you will get the like a stipendium for participation in such a program.
Okay, and 6 months, you mean each day 6 months, or it is
yes,
less?
It's on everyday basis from 9 to 4 in the evening.
Wow. And what about developing, for example, you mean it is PHP developer or it's, other programming languages which you can provide the services for people?
I know that there are 2 languages they learn, but I really can't tell you now which are the languages. I'm not the IT teacher. Maybe Rasa can help me?
Sorry, I'm also not the most professional person to answer that question. Yeah. So, but Egidius, we will inform you personally about that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If there is no questions, now we'll make a break. If you agree, for 5 minutes, and then we come back, and then physiotherapist Jurgita Velurytė will present the presentation about the catalog of workplace requirements. So 5-minute break.
Okay, perfect. See you here in 5 minutes.
See you. Egidijus, girdi mane?
Aha, girdžiu.
Egidijus, your presentation is at Lithuanian time in 50 minutes. Yeah, so it will be 15:50.
Yes.
A quarter to 4.
Okay.
Okay, see you.
Does anyone have a comment about webinar? Is running fine and well from your side?
We have one question for you.
Yeah, who is speaking? Rita?
Monica speaking.
Yeah, tell me, Monica.
I have one question. Can I say?
Yes, Monica, tell me.
The employers show the initiative in support in the workplace stage.
Can I answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show the interest because in some cases they just don't understand, or they don't know how to behave, or they don't know some legislation issues which are specifically designed in the legislation of the labor for people with disabilities, or they don't understand how to communicate with the person, or they don't understand the illness, so they are constantly calling to ask things about those issues. Hello, does someone hear me?
Thank you
Yes.
for your answer.
Okay.
Or maybe your question was another one, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
We have one more question.
Okay.
We are interested, what is the real employment opportunities for persons with visual disabilities?
What is the real, I'm sorry?
What is the real employment opportunities for persons with visual disabilities?
With visual, but do you mean if I can say the blind people, or for all people with visual disabilities?
Especially with the blind.
It is new for us, but we had a few participants who had been totally blind. They didn't see anything, and I was exploring a bit the possibilities for them to be employed, and it is not a huge amount of possibilities, but like the recent opportunity I heard of, and it seems to be a good opportunity. In the hospitals, the doctors who are handwriting the anamnesis, then each hospital has a department of the people who are recording those anamnesis to the dictaphone, or how you call it, to the disk, to the computer software, hardware. So this is, I think, a good possibility for them to be employed. And the clients which we had in our program, one is now working in a newspaper. He is writing the articles, and another one, I'm now struggling to say what is he working.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Do you have any comments yourself on the possibilities for people with visual disabilities?
No, thank you very much for your answer.
Okay. Maybe someone else during the break would like to give some questions.
It seems that not. So, Natalia, thank you very much for your questions.
Natalia, thank you very much for your questions and answers.
Maybe someone would like to give a question in Lithuanian, so you can give a question in Lithuanian and we will translate. Gal kažkas norėtų paklausti lietuviškai, tai mes išversim.
Cynthia, did you want to say something?
Yes, Raza. I want just say something actually technical from when Jurgita will make the presentation. I would like you to unmute yourself, Raza, because it seems there is an echo with Jurgita, with your microphone.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, we will do that.
Only that, that's perfect.
Shall we start in a minute or something?
Yeah, in a minute we'll be back, we'll be fine so that we are following the agenda.
Okay. Cynthia, if you want, we can switch the cameras.
Yes, I will.
You can.
I will take back the control and I'll make Jurgita presenter. So Natalia, you can switch off your camera.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. And now Jurgita has the control and she can show the screen and put on the camera. Hello, Jurgita.
She's muted.
I am muted her, so she can talk. Jurgita? Can you hear me, Jurgita?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, perfect. I can hear you very well, so...
I don't... Okay.
I will present Jurgita. Could you unmute your...
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue our webinar. So now we would like to invite Jurgita Veliulytė to present you the catalog of workplace requirements. This just few words about the catalog. The catalog is developed by the Valokupiai Rehabilitation Center and it was started in the year 2010 and now it contains 60 very different workplace requirements and some of it are ICT related jobs. So Jurgita will present you. And just few words about Jurgita. So she's a physiotherapist at Valokupiai Rehabilitation Center. She works more than 10 years and she's also a certified teacher of functional evaluation test and she is one of the member of the team who is responsible for the evaluation of job place requirements and compiling this catalog. So Jurgita, a word to you.
Hello, can you see me? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, hello. So as Rasa said, I am Jurgita. I am physiotherapist from in the Lithuania in Valakupi Rehabilitation Center. So today I present you a catalog of workplace requirements, and I will try to explain how we assess workplace, how we assess the physical abilities and psychological abilities and any key characteristic of clients, and how we choose what workplace for them is good, or what work they can, not maybe can, maybe able to do. So our catalog of the catalog of workplace requirements, the aim of this catalog is that it is a tool for vocational rehabilitation specialists. They can see or maybe check what skills and what abilities, what psychological characteristic they need for special work and for special workplace. And the catalog certifies job tasks and work processes and provide description for psychological skills and physical capacities, and provide structure of skills, provides reference points to similar job. And we can check, all of vocational rehabilitation specialists can check all the time what they need to assess, or maybe what they need to repeat to assess for special work. Okay. Okay. Content. A catalog includes 60 workplaces. We did that task, and we assess 60 workplace, include IT-related workplace, for like a website developer, ad developer, text editor, a computer graphic designer, operator, and in the future, 2014 and 2015, we will assess more workplaces. About it will be 30 new. Actors involved. Employers. It is our, I think, very important, as Natalia mentioned, that it's very important to have some contact with employers, and we get a lot of information about workplace, about abilities, about some task, what our clients will do after vocational rehabilitation, and the connection with employers is very important. And vet providers, it is our team where with our team specialists. It's a vocational assessment, vocational counseling, and proper job search. Service description. Assessment of workplace requirements. Assessment of workplace and the requirements of work activities in a real workplace. It is very important that our team go to the specific workplace and assess it to determine what skills, what abilities, what situation in a workplace. For example, we can think that person in a wheelchair with some, he can work with computer very good. His abilities, it's enough to work with computer, to do some work with it, but for example, maybe a workplace is not adapt for him, not adapt to work in a wheelchair. And so it's very important to assess in a real workplace, not only think that we know how it goes. preparation of recommendation for workplace adaptation and guidance for employers. It is this point, of course, is very important too, because not only a vocational rehabilitation specialist can check all the time the catalog, but employers can do it too. This catalog is on our website, rehabilitacija.lt, and they can check what abilities it need in their workplace, for example, because it's not a lot of employers know how that people with disability can work equality like people without it. Professionals involved, so as I mentioned earlier, a specialist provides the service. There are physician, rehabilitation physician, occupational therapist, physical therapist, social worker, employment requirement consulting, and here is no psychologist too. So I will present standardized methods of evaluation too. And all our methods is standardized, and one of them is functional capacities evaluation, is a physical assessment. This test including a pain questionnaire and spinal function evaluation. Another one is IDA, diagnostic of psychological work characteristics. And IMBA and MELBA is a documentation tool for these two tests. A little bit more about functional capacity evaluation. The main point of this test is that we assess a place. For example, if you need to sit or kneeling or standing or squat or maybe climbing in your workplace, we will check it and we will say you can do it safely or not, and you can work with this physical abilities or disabilities, or it is impossible. So FCE major advantage of the method, as I said, is real work in real workplace. Of course, we not go with all clients in the real workplace, but we simulate it in our center. We have the special tools, and we're using the real workload. Of course, the raw workload is not very important in this case, like IT specialist, but it's very important to understand that if you are IT specialist, it's not mentioned that you just sit near computer all day. You need to do some other task, for example, to take paper and put it in some another place, or maybe to put on to take on a telephone, or to achieve your job place or other things. So as mentioned, it's very good test because we have simple tools which we can take to outpatients too. And very important point is that we all testing, and during all tests we learn our clients, and it's a very strict that you must do all tasks in ergonomic posture, and we believe that in the future it will be easy for them to work with the disability, that they will do it ergonomic. So this test performed in 2 days. It's first day 3 hours, second day 2 hours, and others. This test performed in observation, in interview person. We determined abilities and limitation, and compare requirement and tool ability and ability to requirement, and client behavior and mood monitoring. It is for this monitoring is very important that 2 testing days will be in a row. A little bit more about this test. This test consists of 29 tasks, and as I mentioned earlier, it's very important not only what client do in work time only, not only keyboard pushing or only talk on telephone or only sit near computer, but very important how he or she achieve a job place, a workplace. For example, how much stairs, what long distance, what long distance is from home to work, and what is a bus, how much bus stops, for example, or it's possible for him to achieve his job without help, or maybe only with help. For example, my first example was with a person who with paraplegia, and he or she can be very good IT specialist, but if his cabinet is on the 4th floor and without elevator, so he or she can't work in that workplace. Include in FCE, there are include 2 more tests. It's a spinal function evaluation. It is a self-evaluation. A person can evaluate himself, and we can compare how real client understands his situation. It is higher or maybe lower than real situation we can, which we tested. And another one test includes is a pain questionnaire. I think it is a standard questionnaire with a few questions in a 10-point scale, where 0 is without any pain and 10 in intolerable pain. So and very important is that the last question of this anchor is after first day, so we can compare how client say in the first day what pain was and what pain is in the second day. So our FC conclusion, it's a FC report in 5 categories. I will take it later. I will talk about it later. And IMBA assessment according to abilities. And IMBA is our documentation for FC. So these 5 categories, it is in these 5 categories we have 5 limits. It is a maximum. It is mean never. If we point a Christ here, it means that this task in a work client can do never. And in other categories is from half hour, it's rarely per day, and sometimes half hour to 3 hours per day. Often it's 3 hours to 5.5 hours per day, and very often this is our aim after vocational rehabilitation. For example, if we talking about IT specialist, so if in the first testing day we see that hand coordination, what is very important to work with a computer is sometimes it's only half hour to 3 hours per day, but after rehabilitation our aim is that it will be very often, it's 5.5 to 8 hours per day. So after this testing we can determine our vocational rehabilitation aims. And a little bit more about IMBA documentation tool. It's a free profile, as Natalia mentioned earlier, but skills profile. We do skills testing, capacity testing with a few other tests, and here we can see what skills in a basic is important, and a requirements profile and comparison profile, where we compare these two requirements and skills. So capacities, it's a few okay, so a few it is biggest it is a name of capacities, and all of these capacities have smaller points, so it's a body position, body locomotion and movement of body parts. Information is essentials, like how client get information per eye, per eyes, but per ears or others. It is it's possible to take information for these ways. And complex physical capacities, environmental influences, occupational safety. It's a very important point. We get a lot of attention for this point, and organization of work and key qualifications. So you can see our IMBA profile and how it look, and all comparison and IMBA skills requirements and comparison profile look similar. At this way we can compare it. So our aim after testing is 3. It's average ability. Usually all of us are in an average ability to do some task. It's a normal ability to be in an average. But if you need to sit near computer 8 hours per day, I think it's a little bit higher ability. So person who want to work where in a workplace you must sit 8 hours, we will need to do, maybe our team needs to do that the client after vocational rehabilitation be able to sit 8 hours near computer. And we usually put some advantages or some points, how much breaks he needs, how after what can be work, how long can be work without breaks and others. So you can see a fragment of skills assessment profile and documentation and evaluation sources. So we can see in the middle IMBA, it is our documentation list, and we get information from requirement survey. It's observation, interview, measurement, and document analysis. In this all case points, it's very important that employers work with us. And skills evaluation, and it is this information get our team in vocational rehabilitation. Is this FCE, EDA, and job match, and job match is job place evaluation. And the last square you see is empty. It is mean that for example, maybe person can work, maybe client can work with computer without any problem, but he can use the standard mouse. So we just need to give some points what mouse for him is better. It is special equipment, we can say, for this square or other specific things. And after it, when we see when we put all information in IMBA, we can see that what action in the future we need to do. It will be maybe a teaching program, wet teaching program, a vocational rehabilitation, more physiotherapy, or maybe more occupational therapy, or maybe more ergonomics learning, or maybe only more contact with employers, and all these answers we can do, and I think Natalia represented very good. So documentation and diagnostic of psychological work characteristic, and the main test of psychological characteristics is IDA, like for physical FCE, and documentation is MELBA, like in a physical IMBA. So IDA, like our tests, are standardized, and IDA made by 14 standardized work tasks, and that all working tasks are a result of work, process of work, and reflection. It is very important, and our social worker and psychologists during all testing, they not only check a result of task, but it is very important how client do it, how he chose the answer, how maybe a reflection, what the way was chosen, for example, for looking an answer, and after it, maybe our psychologist can say it is maybe this person can be a leader, maybe only a team player, or maybe only a servant. It's very important when we are looking at another workplace for him or her. So MELBA is very similar, like very similar with IMBA. It's three profiles too. It's abilities profile, requirements, and comparison profile, and we can compare to this ability to requirements and requirements to ability, and how you can see is what is a MELBA. It's a cognitive characteristic, social, cultural, psychomotor characteristic, and connected to job task, but more here is connected to a mental job task, not a physical. And in the end, I want to say that always go in the same destination. It's always go to a workplace. So it doesn't matter in the IMBA or MELBA, but we can see that this two documentation and all our team have the same destination. It's a workplace for our clients. And how we can see in this schema, it's abilities and requirements, and we can compare it, a decision about suitability, and the answer of it can be two: need of adjustment of workplace or need of training education. Of course, can be a more smaller question, like I mentioned earlier, is for example special equipment, or maybe just a helper, assistant, or other things. So I hope that I explained how we do this very difficult job. So thank you for your attention. This is our center, and maybe you have some questions for us. For me, sorry.
Thank you, Jurgita, for the presentation. Thank you, Jurgita, for the presentation. I hope the participants got the imagination how the vocational rehabilitation specialists gather information, and how contact with the employers and compile this catalog. Do you have any questions to Jurgita? Please raise your hand if you have any questions. It seems that there is no questions. Maybe I can ask Jurgita, what is the most interesting workplace she have been visited for the evaluation? Just
Jurgita, sorry, you should unmute yourself. You mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Thank you.
So I think the most interesting assessment workplace was a physiotherapist workplace. It is the most interesting for me because all our workers in our center was evaluated too, and all workplace is very interesting and they all are different, but all of them have some similar points, like as I mentioned earlier, it's very important ergonomic if you want to work it for a long period, which is our future aim, work for a long period, and for people with disability is very important some ergonomic knowledge and how they can do them workplace safety, and I think it is very important points.
Thank you, Jurgita. Maybe any other questions? Thank you, Jurgita. Maybe some other questions by the participants in English or Lithuanian language. No questions, so thanks everybody for the attention, and thank you, Jurgita, for the presentation. And now, according to the agenda, we have a break, and then we come back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raza, I have Alexandra. She raised the hand.
Oh, yes.
Alexandra from Uri, from Slovenia.
Hi, Alexander. Hi, Alexandra, do you have a question?
Alessandra, you can type your question in the chat space below the list of participants because we cannot hear you. In the while, well, I have a question from Andreas from the same center, so maybe they are together. Andrea, please switch on your microphone and then you can talk. Yes, Andrea? Can you hear Andrea? Hello? Raza, can you hear Andrea? Andrea, we cannot hear you. Hello?
Did you? I have been talking to Egidius by phone, so sorry I didn't hear the last sentence.
Yes, I didn't hear Andreas. Does anyone hear Andreas?
No.
No. So Andrea and Alexandra,
we are sorry about that.
Yeah, we cannot hear you. So please type your question in the chat space below the list. You have a chat with the plus symbol. If you open this space, you can type, so we can have a chat. I will read the question from you. Okay. I have a question from Monica. Please, Monica, go ahead with your question.
Aš noriu paklausti lietuviškai. Labą dieną.
Išversim, taip, klauskit, išversim klausimą.
Tai noriu tokio asmeninio klausimo, galbūt paklausti, kada bus mokymai IMBOS Valakupių centre. Čia klausimas iš Klaipėdos profesinio mokymo ir reabilitacijos centro.
Okay, ačiū. So Monica asked in the Lithuanian language when we, Valakupių Rehabilitation Center, is planning to do the training on IMBA, yeah, if I understand well. So when we have a group, I could answer, when we have a group of 3 or 5 persons interested in the training, then we may organize these trainings. And now in Lithuanian I will say to Monica. Monica, parašykit mum. Okay, you understand. Okay, so that's great. Good. And thank you as well. And I would like to continue with Egidius' suggestion. He asked me if we may continue without a break. What do you think? Egidius is our next presenter, so...
For me it's fine. Just would like to hear from participants. They can all speak now.
It's okay. We can continue without a break.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Okay.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, we continue without a break. And I would like to thanks once again to Jurgita and now present our next speaker. He's Egidius Biknevičius, and he's our invited speaker. And he's a CEO of software development company Etalink. And we invited him to tell his story, present the enterprise who's called Etalink, and his own opinion about cooperation with PAT providers. And just a few words about Egidius. So in year 2002, he has started IT business, and after a few years have established the company Etalink, and now with 12 employees working in ICT field. And in 2008, he was awarded as the National Young Entrepreneur from the Lithuanian Ministry of Economy. So, Egidius, do you hear us? Egidio, are you here with us?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, very well.
And can you see the slide?
Oh, I think you see... no, we don't see the slide.
Young slides. Just a moment.
Slide 2. Slide. The micro business slide.
Just a few seconds. Oh, yes, we see the slides now.
A video, you need a video?
No, not yet.
But you need the video or not, or just speaking?
If you have a webcam, it would be nice to see you.
Young.
Yes, we see you now, Egidio.
Now it's you see the video?
Yes. We see you and 1/4 of your colleague.
Okay. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Today I tell you a short story how we went to my life to the my own business. My name is Egidius. I am CEO and the founder of company Etalink. It is information technology company which provide custom software development services for our clients. And we're already working for about 12 years. It is the second business in my life, and later I will tell you about all my businesses. This is what you see on the screen. This is my old childhood when I started my trip to own business, and this the picture shows what I like to do mostly in my childhood, and it is the crazy thing, but I like to do it very well, and my mom was very shocked when she saw me doing this crazy thing. This adventure was in the school when we together with my friends came by bicycles. It was a 40-kilometer trip together with two people on one bicycle. I mean, because I cannot see, I am blind. That was my friend together with me on one bicycle, and I was. My friend was the driver, and I was an engine. It was very exciting event. Sport in my life. The sport was play a very important role, and the sports which I played was athletics and goalball. And in this slide you can see my long jump in the European Championship in Poland. It was in the year 2004. The biggest achievements in sport, it was in Sydney Paralympic Games in the year 2000, and we win a silver medal in Paralympic Games, and here you see the award ceremony. This is one funny story which happens for me in a gym, and I laid down on this girl when she was making an exercise. My studies. Why I decided to study information technology management at Vilnius University? The first time when I started to work with the computers, it was when I was 14 years old. It was in 8th class at school, and for that moment when I started to learn to work with the computers, I understand that this is the way how I can manage the whole my life, because the whole information which I can use, I can access by computer. It's mean Word, Excel, or other documents I can read by my screen readers. Even the love email letter for my first girl in the school, which I wrote, it was via email, because this is the one way how to write a letter to the girl or friends, because other ways we cannot do. And at the moment I decided to relate my life with the information technology and the information management. And in the year 2000 I started my studies at Vilnius University and communication faculty, and in 2004 I finished my studies. And when I started studies at Vilnius University, it was big problems to use different material for learning, for preparation for exams, and it was big problems with accessibility, or I mean computers and no screen readers on the computer class, and no screen readers on the practical lectures. And in the Vilnius University, we made a few projects with the library of Vilnius University and we established a computer class for disabled people. There were prepared equipment, computers, screen readers, magnifiers. Yep.
Egdio, sorry for interrupting. We see still the slide about your studies. I think you
yes, I am talking about the studies.
Still the studies. Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, no problem. And after this project, which was made in the Vilnius University, all disabled people can better access information at his studies. When we was a student, and after 2 years in the university, we decided to start our first business. It was computer shop. It was a very small computer shop in one room, and we also start our e-shop, online shop on the internet. It was the first computer shop in Lithuania, and we sell computers online via banking systems. And the first logo which was placed on the bank link systems, it was our shop. And also we sell computers offline. We provide repairing services, consultations for our clients. Of course, it was just the first steps in the Lithuania for online shopping, and it was very small sales online. The reason was because in the online trading that became normal business in Lithuania somewhere in 2009, in 2010, and it was a very early project, and the most success of this business which we do at the university, it was offline computer sales. In 2004 I finished my professional sport, and because we started a new project financed by European Union. It was 11-month project by which we established company Etalink, and after 1 year of this project we created a social enterprise Etalink, and nowadays we're already working for about 9 years. In 2015 we will celebrate 10 years, and Etalink was established as a service company, and after our creation of this company, we expanded of our services list. We provided website development, hosting services. Here you can see our services. We provide hosting, IT services, and but nowadays we just provide just a few services. I mean website development and accessibility consultation services and custom software development services. And other services now we stop because now we concentrated and improving our services quality of few services. We have 12 people at the moment. 8 of them are with disabilities, and here you can see the professions which disabled people work in Etalink, and the most is developers, is system administrators, it is translators, and mostly they are working remotely at home. They have computer, they have internet connection, they have screen reading software, they have magnification software, they have workplaces especially adapted to his needs. And for disabled people, the most convenient workplace it is distance work, when she can connect to the system, and they can find his task for today. He can make his task to close the issues, write a comment, and so on. We're using an online system for task tracking, for issues tracking system, and all our works and all our tasks are laid down on this system. People can connect, can see his task for today, for week, for month, can see his projects which they are involved in, and they are closing issues on the system and putting his source code or other outcome to the system and closing the tasks.
Slide 14, the biggest achievements of Etalink.
Here you can see our biggest achievements. The biggest achievement for us is that we was first company in Lithuania certified under ISO 20000, and in 2013 we were certified under ISO 9000. It was second certificate. The also big event for us and big achievement, it was project, one of the biggest project Elvis. Today, later I will tell you about this. And this year we started a new project, Liepa, which is a very big challenge for us, and I tell you later about it.
Slide 15,
we are working with public sector and private sector. Mostly of our clients, they are public sectors organizations, and we also have few clients from business sector. It is we're very proud for our big client, Sergel. It is a company held by Telia Sonera. When we're creating a software for about 6 years for all processes in the business, for debt collection processes, and it is the longest project which we have.
Slide 16, our lovely project. Users now admit.
Here is our lovely project. As I tell you, in 2012 we finished project Elvis. During the 18 months we created the online library for the blind. It is accessible software, especially dedicated for the blind and visually and partially sighted people. And all system is accessible for screen readers, for magnifiers, and now users can enjoy more than 8,000 audiobooks, and they can suggest which audiobook they can want to have in MP3 format. The users also can use this library with them computers, laptops, or portable devices. And I think we will make the Elvis 2 in the near future.
Slide 17. Most interesting project in 2014.
In this year, as I told, we started the project Liepa with our partners, other IT companies, and we are creating two e-services. It is first service called Valdytuvas, by which user can manage his computer using his own voice, and the second service is Naršytuvas, by which user can manage internet or other browser using his own voice. And it is a big challenge for us in this year, and we're planning to finish this project in the first half of 2015.
Slide 18. What happens tomorrow? How are you working?
And now we are planning, we are working to expand our services worldwide. I mean, custom software development and accessibility training. That's what's very important as for us. It's accessibility training, because we saw that in the market are a lot of software and web pages or documents which aren't accessible for blind users or with other disabilities. People who are using assistive technologies, they can't access content on the web, on the documents, and for example, as this software of webinar I cannot use because it isn't accessible. For example, I cannot raise the hand using my keyboard. You can raise the hand using your mouse, and I am using the screen reading software, and I cannot raise the hand. And it is it's a small niche, but it's very specific, and we need to have specific knowledge for that. And now we already made a few trainings for developers for some companies, and now we are expanding the services worldwide. We changed our brand from Etalink to Etalink with the Q.com, and it is the first steps we prepared our English web page, and now we just improving our website, and in the next year, in 2015, we're planning to start our services globally.
Slide 19. What personal and professional characteristics? Slide 19. What personal
Here I wrote a few things with personal and professional characteristics needs for people which has been working with disabled people. As I already have almost 10 years experience working with the disabled people, I can say that we need to have patience, and because each disability requires for each people a lot of time to break his mind regarding with disability, and of course the second thing is to break barriers related with his disabilities. And as I saw that during this time when I working with the disabled people, that is mostly there are problems in people heads regarding competing with himself in the internal competition, because they have a lot of barriers related with the disability, and if the people can manage those barriers, and or if the people can compete with himself inside, and then everything is okay. If no, that is the biggest problem it's people by himself, and if disabled people wants to break a barrier, that people should be very strong, or these people should want to be to change something in his life and to find it with those barriers. Cooperations with universities or other training institutions. For example, for our organization, I think it's very weak, and we need to improve this cooperation. I think this project and maybe other projects from Volocopay Center, maybe it could be the cooperation regarding the trainings which provide Volocopay Rehabilitation Center, and because it's very difficult to prepare people with disability for IT to provide IT services, because it needs a lot of assistive technologies. For example, the blind people, which the most are working in our company, the blind and partially sighted people, they need very much assistive technologies. For example, the blind people should use the screen reading software. The visually impaired people should use screen magnification software or braille line. Also, there are a lot of problems which I said about accessibility. There are tools which developers should use for their own work, and those most of the tools that aren't accessible for blind people or partially sighted people, and we need to prepare the whole way from the start till the end regarding I mean we need to prepare the workplaces, we need to prepare to select the right tools for the people, and a lot of people they are afraid to start this complicated profession as IT specialist, for example web developer or other or system administrator, because it needs very special knowledge. But if some organization, or for example as Volocopay Rehabilitation Center or other institution which can prepare such a program, I think disabled people will very enjoy this program, because it is warranted to the job when they finish those programs. Here are recommendations, and the first and the mostly important thing which I would like to mention in those presentation, that ICT is the key for the labor market, because nowadays information and information management, it is the thing which disabled people can manage. Of course, there are problems, the accessibility problems. There are other barriers which we can break, but without the ICT, we cannot do absolutely anything, or just make a massage. And in Lithuania, most blind people are doing. And information management is the key today, and it is a big warranty to our to the work. Of course, it would be very nice to have a very concrete list regarding disabilities. For example, blind people can work as a web developers, as a massage specialist, as a therapist specialist. For example, wheelchair people can work other works and so on. And of course, we need to prepare the concrete programs. For example, if we have already a professional list, as we told, as we hear today, that Valokupių Rehabilitation Center is doing, and we need to prepare a concrete training programs as Valokupių centers do. That means as a web developer or some administrator for Linux systems, or it would be for application developer for Android or iOS. It should be very concrete steps, very concrete programs from starting till the end, from regarding the whole tools, and I think it would be very nice such a program for example, for if the disabled people can go to the center and train, for example, apps developer on Android, on iOS, and it would be very popular, I think, service. Of course, the other one recommendation is for politics is that we need to provide to expand more services to buy from social enterprises, as company Etalink is. Now in Lithuania we have about more than 200 social enterprises, and those social enterprises works more than 7,000, I think, somewhere disabled people. And if the government institutions or other institutions will pay more attention for buying services or goods from those social enterprises, it would be a big support for employment for disabled people. And now we can discuss a little bit about disabled people in the market, and if you have questions, we can continue.
Thank you, Egidius, very much for your presentation. Any questions from the participants to Egidius?
Rasa,
do we have any raised hands?
Not yet.
Yes?
Yes, I have now from Peter. Peter, you should, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you hear me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask, Gideon, thank you for the very interesting presentation. I enjoyed it very much. So, in your company, if I understood correctly, you have 8 out of 12 employees with a disability. Did you have difficulty in finding them? Did you specifically look for disabled persons as an employee? Did you did special efforts to find them, or did it came automatically by publishing a job vacancy? I wonder how easy or how difficult this was.
It was very difficult to find. The mostly are from my personal contacts in the school and in the university when I started study, and they came through the personal contacts, and I tried to search for some specialists through our special fund. There is a foundation of studies, and I put the advertisement that I'm looking for the specialist with disabilities, and no answer. It was I don't know why, but is in the for advertisement it is very difficult to find some good specialists. Of course, for the from the Lithuanian, it's Darbo Birža. It's they are sending some suggestions, but mostly they are very just very beginning skills, and we need a little bit with a higher competence people which can today sit down on the computer and can start the work. Of course, we expect that not very high competence, but just from the beginning. But those people which who are sending us CVs from Lithuanian employees agency, it is very low competence, and for us it's a very big problem. And if we will have cooperation with the organization who are prepared, which can prepare people with disabilities for with a higher competence, it would be very I think it would be very good cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter and Egidius. Are there any other questions? Do we have any raised hands?
Not yet.
Yeah?
Not yet.
So this is the last chance to ask Egidius questions. Please do that.
I have no reaction.
If you have some questions or you can contact me directly. On the slide you can see my contacts, and or through the RASA you can contact me directly if you will have question later.
Okay, Egidius, maybe you have any free vacancies at the moment, because maybe it's a good chance to announce, because in the participant there is participating professionals from other vocational training centers as well, so maybe it's a good chance to announce if you have something.
Maybe it would be nice to talk in the smaller groups about the concrete programs for IT specialists, and to look what already are done, and to discuss how we can to improve those programs, or to make them more closely to the today's market.
Okay, thank you. I see that Natalia camera is coming to the desktop. Natalia, do you want something?
Yes, thank you for unmuting me, because I was trying to give a question, but I was muted.
Yes, sorry.
I was feeling a little bit disabled.
Don't worry, I found you. Sorry.
Okay, Egidio, that was my question also. Would you consider to take internship to your company? Because our students, we are constantly looking for the places for the internship in the companies for them. So would you consider in the future to take on the board the one who want to gain the practical skills on the job place?
I think if the people are perspective, we can talk with the participants of your programs, and we can the side of the people. If the people have perspective, or they are young and they are very active, we can discuss and we can improve their internship, or they can start some job, for example, as a for a testing period, and they can try to do and they can try to realize those competences here.
Okay, so you also would like to cooperate during the testing period, because we have assessment period when the clients are like choosing their profession in a way. So would you like to be involved also?
Yes, I think we can discuss about concrete peoples. If you have some skilled people in specific in those services which we provide, we are interested in that.
Okay, thanks. It was a good presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any raised hands, Cynthia?
No, I'll try to unmute everybody and see if someone wants to say something before that we leave Egidio and then we close the meeting.
If anyone has any questions or comments, please do that.
Well, no question for me, but I just wanted to say that it was a very interesting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Didier. Okay. Andrea here, can you hear me?
Yes. Now we can hear you. Yeah, great, Andrea.
Okay.
Hi.
Great. I also enjoyed the webinar, and despite we had some problems, so also my colleagues could follow, so there were no problems.
Okay.
So, thank you to the Lithuanians for a very nice webinar.
Thank you. And by the way, Cynthia, can we later on get the video record of this webinar?
Yes, sure. Actually, the record will be published also on the website, on the Learnability webpage, as an outcome of the project. That will be at the end of the project, so we will share internally first. I have a question from Edita from DRC. Please, Edita.
We don't hear Edita, but Edita hears us, but we don't hear Edita.
No.
But she's sitting next to our room, so maybe we will pronounce her question. Just a second. Yeah, dar negirdim. Edita is trying to ask, but she still didn't hear us.
No.
Negirdim.
No, we can hear someone from Rita Smrai from.
Edita is coming to my microphone.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Edita.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hello, I am Edita, director from the Local Rehabilitation Center. Hello, everybody.
Yes, we hear you.
I want to say thank you very much, first of all, to all project partners for your cooperation and collaboration by implementation from this project and by actively participation on this webinar. Do you hear me?
Yes.
I want to say sincere latest Thank you very much for a good organization of this webinar.
Thank you,
I want to say
Edita.
thank you very much to our Lithuanian partners for your attention and participation on this webinar. And I want especially to say thank you very much on Egidius Beknavičius and all our speakers, my colleagues, Rasa, Jurgita, and Natalia. And I ask our partners to convey the best greetings to your colleagues and wish you all good luck.
Thank you, Edita. This is Cinzia speaking.
Thank you very much.
Proszę minutkę, wypuklite. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for Edita for her words to all the partners and the speakers. Shall we do the conclusions of the webinar?
Yes.
Yeah, so just to end up, I would like to thank Egidius really for very interesting presentation, and his presentation just proved what we found out with the research that we made in May this year. So the cooperation mechanism between ICT sector employers and vocational training providers in Lithuania is not very active, let's say, and the research revealed that dominating cooperation activities are internships in the companies, mutual visits of vet staff and students in the companies, and job search and placement support for people with disabilities. And in the mainstream education, we have only few students graduating annually in ICT programs, and also vocational rehabilitation providers who provide exclusively services for people with disabilities have up to 20 or 30 trainees with disabilities graduating from ICT programs annually. So this is really small numbers. And but I would like to conclude with a very good news that even cooperation is not very active, but the new initiatives are coming, like the National Digital Coalition, and also the new initiative of cooperation, very new. We get information only in September this year that Vilnius Technology and Business Vocational Training Center have established the training program for Java programmers, and together with the employer have selected 28 students who during 10 months program will learn how to program with Java program, and then they will be employed in the company that has been selecting them. So this is very new initiative in Lithuania, and good news that we are always working in dynamic environment, and we get the let's say impulse to improve, and we have we learned a lot from this project and from our partners, and from getting to know new persons from ICT field in Lithuania while doing the research. So thank you all partners for this mutual learning, and this webinar is also for exchanging the experience in that field. So thank you from my side, thank you very much for all the speakers and all the participants, and we are looking forward for other webinars.
Yes, Rosa, thank you for your conclusions. I would like to suggest to maybe create an annex to the Lithuanian report with the good news that you just announced. Well, it's
yes, we can.
Yeah, there will be like a half page maybe with these new initiatives, and I would like to remember all participants that on the 21st of October we will have a webinar organized by Uri in Slovenia, and as soon as possible you will receive the agenda for the webinar. I hope that all of you enjoyed the presentations. I would like to thank VRC and also the presenters. Just a quick reminder to fill the satisfaction survey about the content of the webinar. Do you want to add anything from participant side? No, it seems not.
Just a question, Cynthia. Will you get all the PowerPoint from the webinar today?
I got, yes, I got it already. So I will publish actually on the website, on the Learnability page after the meeting, so they will be available since this afternoon. So you can download it going on the EPR website, EPR projects, and then Learnability project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. For this meeting, there will...
Very shortly, because we have some participants from Lithuania, so just shortly I will say in Lithuanian. Visa projekto informacija besidomintiems yra prieinama interneto puslapyje epr.eu ir prie projektų Learnabil IT projekto yra visa informacija, tai kviečiame pasidomėti. Ir taip pat mūsų internetinėme puslapyje www.rehabilitacija.lt. Thank you very much.
I'm showing the page, if you can see this is the Learnability webpage, and you go to the platform, and then here you will have all the presentation. Did you see the webpage?
We can't see.
No, we see the agenda.
Sorry. What's happened now? Did you see the EPR website?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, we saw for 1 second.
And now it's not in?
No.
No.
Okay.
We see a folder. No, we see a folder.
Okay.
IT folder. So the address is epr.eu, yes?
Yes.
I'm right.
And then on the left side there is EPR project. You go from Learnability project. And then you have the... Can see you now?
No.
Well, you know the EPR website. So looking for the Learnability project, I can send a follow-up email actually with the link once the presentation are online, so that you can download directly. Is that okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So I thanks everybody for their attendance, and see you next week for the Learnability webinar in Slovenia.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Dus ik hang hier op, dan kan ik het einde nog even mee.
Yes, we close the webinar.